They flew all the way across the ocean to meet me. Okay, that's not true. We met at a conference I was speaking at, but I was so intrigued by these two ladies, I just knew I had to have them on. If you're a small business and you're thinking about using social media, you need to listen to these two women. And if you're a social media manager thinking about growing your business, you definitely need to be listening to them. The two Lauras are up, helping business owners in growth mode go farther, faster. This is EntreGrow. And the two women that I am talking about are the two Lauras. And for those of you who don't know who the two Lauras are, let me give you a brief understanding of these two lovely ladies. First of all, I truly did meet them at a Starbucks in line, right? We met in a line at Starbucks.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
They have an incredible training and really a program to help people who want to become social media managers grow and develop their freelance businesses. And so we started talking at this conference and just hit it off right away. And here we are just 1 year after the world stopped spinning, and I get to spend my birthday with you two lovely ladies.
Yay! We didn't bring cake though.
That's okay. I don't need any. I'm watching my COVID figure.
Okay, that's fine then.
I think everybody's been watching their COVID figure, like literally.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, sitting on the couch a lot these days. Anyway, yeah. So first, I would love for you ladies to explain a little bit about what your business is, how it works, and really talk about how this thing started, because I love origin stories. I think origin stories are so powerful.
Cool. Well, I can talk to you about how it started. So we are both still freelancers. So we both have a freelance business, either doing social media management or ads management. And we had managed to grow our businesses to be relatively successful. They worked around our families, which is what we wanted. They obviously provided us with a good income. We got to work with the kind of clients that we wanted to work with, who paid us well. And so life was pretty good. And we were finding that when we both struck up a conversation with each other, that a lot of people were asking us for help in their social media businesses. Like, how should they find clients? How do they win a client? What should they be charging? And all these kind of foundation questions that clearly there was a gap, that, there weren't people out there helping freelancers to figure out how to make those decisions. So we put our heads together, and the very first thing we wanted to do was just provide a resource that could answer all of these questions that these freelancers had, and mainly how to set up their businesses, how to be a bit more professional, how to get these better clients, how to have more income, have more flexibility in their days, those kind of things. So we developed what was called and is called the Social Media Managers Toolkit, which was just going to be a small product that we hoped would help a handful of people. And we've just sold our 900th.
Wow.
Last month.
Congratulations.
It was pretty exciting and way kind of beyond what our kind of vision was at the time.
Sure.
But the business has grown loads in that time.
See, I think most people that are freelancers, and so if you look at my business model, right, Ad Zombies is an at-scale copywriting service, but a lot of the writers that work with us are freelance. Now, we have staff writers as well, but our bench of freelancers is much deeper. And most freelancers, as we all know, are artists, right? Many of us in the business world that love doing the craft that we do, whether it's social media management and design and copywriting, are artists and not really great at the business side of things. So how do you help Laura, one, the artist? By the way, when did you both decide to become Laura's and change your names? Was it because you met each other, or was it just coincidental?
We only work with people called Laura, obviously.
So if you added a third partner, it'd be the Laura, like
Yeah.
like the group Tony back in the day. But now I'm dating myself. And so, how do you help the artist figure out the business side of things? Because I think that's the most difficult, challenging part of a business is the actual business side of it.
Yeah, and a lot of our people have come from like a corporate background where that's all been done for them. And so in the toolkit, we give them everything. We literally give them every single thing that they need to be able to go out and win a client, to onboard a client, and all of everything is just handed to them on a plate in a bunch of templates and training. So they can carry on being the artist, and we're giving them the business side to make things easy for them. I think if you're not business minded, then it can be very difficult to make that transition. And there's so much out there, isn't there? If you go on Google and you search for it, there's so much free stuff. So how do you know what is the right thing that's going to help you?
Right.
And especially if you're in a specific business, so that's why everything that we do is specifically for social media managers. So we know that it works, and a lot of it is the stuff that we've used in our business, and we know it works.
No, my understanding is a lot of the social media managers that have evolved over the last several years are women primarily who were looking for fulfillment outside of the house and were really creative and crafty, but wanted to put that to use. How do you connect with that? Obviously, you're women, right? So you have that natural connection point, but how do you connect with that audience to find them, to speak to them, and help them evolve from wherever they are to where they want to be in a business setting?
I think you've ultimately I was going to say, you've ultimately hit the nail on the head in that we to a degree are our audience. We fundamentally understand the pain points of our audience. We understand what they're trying to achieve, and there's lots of people out there who will be really pushing to have a successful business. You need to be earning 6-7 figures, all this jazz. But whereas we understand that our audience aren't like that, some of them are, which is great, but others just want to have a job that fits in between 2 days they might have child free in the week, or they just want to work with one client and earn 4 figures. And so we totally understand that people's idea of success in their business is hugely varied. And we've gone through those motions ourselves. When I started, I had 3 children under the age of 5, and I just had 1 day a week that I needed to kind of fill. And I am not the type of person who can just sit around and not do things. I'm not a domestic person. I'm not good in the home, all that jazz. I needed to work, and I was desperate to work, and I had 1 day a week. And to me, as soon as I filled that 1 day with client work, that was my success. I didn't care about the income. I cared about the using my brain for a day. And I think because we've gone through those motions, and I'm not saying we understand all of our audience, obviously, but we understand a large proportion of the roller coaster that people go on when you're a freelancer, in that kind of winning clients, losing clients, winning clients that are awful. How do you get rid of these clients? This kind of whole turmoil. I think that really helps us to connect with our audience. And we're not going to be liked by everybody. We're not going to be right for everybody, because everyone can't be liked by everybody, can they? But I think the reason we have a brilliant community around us is because people can see that we get them and we understand them.
So yeah, and we don't kind of cut around the fluff, do we? We're very straight to the point, tell you what you need to do. If you don't get results, it's probably because you haven't gone and done what we told you to do, type thing. So yeah, not everyone will like us because of that. That's fine.
You bring up a really good point, though. A lot of people start a business not to necessarily fulfill a financial need. I think most artists, myself included, really love to do the craft that they do. And so whether it's social media management, where they're designing the campaign graphics, the visuals that support the text, or copywriting or video production, right? It's the art that we love to do that we would gladly do for free if we could and support our family off of free. But putting that love, that passion for what you do into a focused, concentrated effort that not only delivers results for your client, but delivers results for your family has got to be incredibly fulfilling. And I know for me as an artist, it's so fulfilling to know that like I can do what I do and make a living doing this. How cool is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you find someone who's just starting out, typically what is their first goal? Is it to learn a platform? Is it to help a friend? Like where do most people come into your business and go, I need help developing this?
A lot of our people are already, they've got the social media skills, if you like, they've dabbled a little bit perhaps. But what they need to do is then to find that really great client, that dream client who is going to trust them to go and do the job and going to pay them well. And that's the bit that we help with most, isn't it? Because let's be honest, there's so many crappy clients out there that think they know better than you because their aunt's sister's receptionist at their local dentist has got 20 followers on Instagram. And those clients are quite happy to pass on this information that they've got from that receptionist. And those clients are really tricky to work with. And a lot of our people end up at the very beginning working with these awkward clients. And it's trying to help them to move away from these time-sucking clients to these brilliant clients who trust you and know that you can do a really, really good job. And having the confidence to know that you can do that really good job and telling them that. Because a lot of it is about confidence, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people as well who maybe go into it thinking this is a bit of a side hustle, a bit of a hobby. It's not like a proper business. And for whatever reason, maybe it's because they have more time come available, or maybe they're fed up of people kind of talking to them, like belittling what they're doing, like your little business or your little job or your
that thing you do when you have a few extra hours.
Yeah. And so sometimes things click with people that, what, I need to make a really good go of this. And this is a proper business. And I want people to take me seriously. And I want to have the clients who take me seriously and understand the skills that they are taking to this business and the value that brings to another business and so on and so forth. And I think it's at that point that they say to, right, well, Laura's, how can you help me? And that's when they become receptive to kind of investing in their own business, really.
Sure.
It's not a hobby.
I think a lot of small business owners go through that phase. I know I did, where I felt it was a little demeaning when people would talk to me, oh, that thing that you were doing in the spare bedroom of your home. Now, that thing grew very quickly into a multi-million-dollar business. And then it suddenly became legitimate, right? And so you have to really know who you are, be comfortable where you are, and set a goal for that business, right? If you're a small business owner today and you feel like, well, this is just this thing that I do and it's extra money, but you know in your heart that you want this to be something more, pursue it, and pursue it with passion, because you don't know what the business can become until you put your energy into it fully. And I think that that's so important for anyone in any space, whether they're freelance or they've started a small mom and pop pizza shop, right? You put your energy into it and your heart into it and watch what happens. It's pretty remarkable when you just pour yourself into your passion. I'm curious, with most social media managers today, what would you say are the 3 biggest platform shifts that are impacting their business and their communications with their clients? Because I know platforms are so volatile, and Facebook changes this algorithm. There's iOS 14 updates. There's Instagram. You could do this yesterday, but you can't do it today. So what are the big challenges that the people who you're teaching are learning, are focusing on or seeing? And what are the big challenges that businesses are facing today on social?
I think for one of the big things for social media managers is video. There's so much need for video these days, isn't there? And if you're working with a small business who doesn't necessarily have the tech skills to give you the video that they need or the budget to go and get that video, as a social media manager, there's often quite a lot of pressure on you to be able to create that video. And if it's not your business and you're not the face of the business, trying to come up with a way that you can do that is very, very difficult.
Okay, so how do you do that then? Because like if I'm a client and I come to you and I say, "Hey, I need videos for my business," how do you accomplish that if that's not even in your wheelhouse?
I think it's the other way around. It's quite often the social media manager saying to the business, "We need videos for your socials." Because obviously with the rollout of Reels and there's more people using stories and stuff like that, and business owners are trying to outsource their social media, they don't want to be having to do these videos, but in some cases they need to be in them and they need to invest their time and be guided by their social media expert who's telling them what they need. And quite often there's a lot of resistance in that.
You know, I don't resist being in videos, even though I don't like my nose. And every time I see myself, I go, oh God, my hair is thinner and thinner. But there's a lot of truth in what you just said. And that is that business owners need to take a vested interest, especially if you're hiring a professional to manage your social and to work on your social and your branding, right? I am very fortunate that I have an in-house team. And you know, Caitlin heads up our team. She's our director of content and marketing, and she is a rock star when it comes to content and social creation. But if she says for National Beer Day, I need a video of you opening a can of beer or a bottle of beer and taking a sip of it and then putting it to the camera, guess what I'm going to give her? Those things. And because it's in your best interest as the business owner to give your social media manager the things, the tools that they need to help advance your business, whether you see the benefit or not. Trust me. And I know this from a business owner perspective. There are times when you go, does this really have any value in my business? Is this going to make a difference? Like move the needle at all? And the reality is that every single touch point, every time you do stuff like this, it does move the needle. And it moves it in a way that furthers your business. It's not that every video needs to feature what your business is, your product is, and what it does. Is it needs to show the personality, the quirkiness, the humanity of the business. So if you're hiring people to do this stuff for you, by God, give them the crap they need.
Yeah, totally.
Definitely agree with that one.
Yeah, totally. I think another issue or problem freelance social media managers face is there's this understanding, which is wrong, that social media marketing is an admin job, that it's just a case of posting 3 or 4 times a week or 7 times a week and just spitting out content that is seen, unfortunately, as an admin job. And therefore there's lots of people who don't understand that social media marketing needs a strategy and that it needs to be invested in. And so you'll have small businesses who have maybe used someone before in an admin role to just fire out these posts and become slaves to the schedulers, but they have never enforced any kind of strategy. So when a good social media manager comes along and says, you know, yes, I'll work for you, here's my proposal, here's my fee, which is going to be higher than the person who's done the admin role, and we're going to kick off by spending a load of time investing in putting together a really good social media strategy for you, they're like, oh no, well, I don't need to invest in that because, you know, Barbara up the road, she didn't do any of this. And so there's quite a lot of education that needs to happen for businesses to understand that social media marketing has to have a strategy if you want to see a benefit to it and benefit on that investment. So there's certainly an upward battle for a lot of freelancers trying to get people to understand that they're not there just to fire a load of posts out. They are there to help that business reach those goals. And to do that, they need a strategy, they need a plan in place.
The thing that kills me most is when I see this online all the time, because I'm in so many Facebook groups and so many online forums, are business owners who say, how do I get more likes? How do I get more followers? And, and I always jump in and I believe that, yeah, there's value in likes and followers, but there's more value in engagement of those followers. I would rather have 100 people that are fully engaged and activated on my brand than 100,000 people that like the page. And so trying to educate your clients has got to be a real uphill battle at times, especially when people are chasing vanity metrics that have nothing to do with the success of their business.
Yeah, they're all focused on that 10K for a swipe up on Instagram. And they're asking, how do I get more likes rather than how do I get more buyers? Which is the key question.
And I love that Instagram removed the number of people, right? You don't see those numbers anymore. A lot of those vanity metrics are hidden, and only the individual who's posting or the brand that's posting can see how many people liked or commented or whatever, because those vanity metrics that you're chasing really don't have any value to your business, right? They're just a vanity metric. It just makes you feel good. It makes you it's like looking in a mirror that takes 20 pounds off of your body, right? It's a vanity metric. It doesn't really change who you are, but you're looking in the mirror going, oh, look how great I look, right?
I'd totally buy that mirror.
Yeah. Well, I want the mirror that puts the hair back. So I'm not, I've never.
The amount of businesses that and I've had clients before, or people have rung me and inquired with me, and I'll say, right, well, what is it you want to achieve? And they'll say, I want that swipe up, or I want better likes and all this jazz. And it's like, no, but what do you actually really want? And obviously by the time you keep asking that question, they'll say, well, I want more sales, or I want more leads. And it's like, okay, well, that's what we'll help you with. Not this vanity metrics, because you could just be able to convert what you've already got. You don't have to have these huge, big audiences that people think is the answer to all their prayers, because it isn't always. And obviously, the bigger the audience, the better in some respects, but that shouldn't be the focus. The focus is getting the end goal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no point in having a big audience if you're not doing what you need to do to be able to convert them into buyers.
Right, 100%.
You can have hundreds of thousands of followers. They're not buying from you, they're just followers.
Correct. I made the mistake early on, and I talk about it in my book, and I've talked about it on social many times. I made the mistake early on in believing that I needed to have followers on my page for it to have credibility. And so I spent money to get followers. And boy, was that a mistake, because when you spend money to get followers, you are buying the bottom of the barrel, crappiest, like you're buying robots. You're not buying anything of value. And whereas when you develop a comprehensive plan, as Laura pointed out, and as the other Laura nodded, as Laura's both pointed out, how's that? When you develop a comprehensive plan and you execute on that plan, the growth happens over time. And that leads me to the next point. How many times do your social media managers that you work with and train have to fight the battle of how fast can you get me to where I want to be, when they don't even know where they want to be? They just know they want to get somewhere. There's a slow burn on social media. Could you help peel back some of that so that we understand better what that looks like?
I definitely think the issue is not so much how long is this going to take me to reach the goal. It's after month one, the client will say, well, we've not got swipe up yet, or I've not made 7 figures this month. Like, they expect that immediate reaction. And I suppose what we say quite a lot, and we're, I suppose, to a degree, a broken record on it with our social media managers, is that they have to manage expectation right at the start. They have to make sure that their clients are fully aware that this is not a quick win. This is an investment. This is, a slow burner. And for some businesses, it can take a long time. And it kind of depends where they are at the point that they outsource, as to how quickly they can move forward. And it's whether they're just doing organic social media, or are they doing Facebook ads on Instagram ads or LinkedIn ads or what have you. So definitely from our point of view, in terms of educating freelancers, it's about that management of expectation, and to not set any guarantees, not to make promises. Like I see it a lot on my when I'm in my clients' accounts and they get DMs from agencies and other freelancers saying, I could do your social and we could get you to 10K in 4 months. And I like to entertain these conversations. Oh, how are you going to do that? And it's this how unfortunately there's a lot of people in the industry who sell their services based on just hot air, because there's no one can guarantee that they're going to be able to grow a page, even if you're working with 2 identical businesses offering the same services.
Right.
We all know that people don't grow at the same rate. They might have a different audience. They might be in a different location. They might have a different kind of product, essentially, or different customer service. There's so many things that factor how quickly social media, or how receptive social media is to businesses. So there are a lot of people out there who are making promises that they won't be able to keep, and therefore that gives people like us a bit of a bad name. So then no one believes what we say, which is why we all always say, don't ever make a promise, don't ever give guarantees, and be really realistic. And if someone says, well, how long is it going to take us? Then you need to be saying, I don't know.
Right. That's the real answer. So tell me, if I'm starting a business today, it's April 6th, 2021, the day that we are recording. If I'm starting a business today, what are the major platforms I need to have a social presence on immediately?
Depends what you're selling, who your audience is, where you need to reach them, where they're hanging out. There's no one answer to that.
Okay.
So what you're selling? You're selling the magic mirror?
That's the magic mirror can sell itself, right? That doesn't. Okay, so great. So let's say whatever your business is, you figure out the 2 or 3 platforms that are best for your business, right?
Or just the one.
Or just the one. Great point.
Yeah. There's no point stretching yourself too thin. You're better off having one platform and doing it really, really, really well.
Right. Go deep rather than wide.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, organic versus paid debate.
Ideally both.
Okay. Is there a balance that makes it that makes your organic go further?
Is there a balance that makes it go further?
I love getting into these technical things, because these are the questions that people always ask. And they get a lot of, as you said, hot air from people. Go, oh yes, do this and do that. And I found that when a post performs well organically and you put some money behind it, sometimes those posts really take off and become hot sales posts for your business, even though they had no intent, right?
Yeah.
And other times you post an ad that's intended as an ad and it goes.
Yeah.
I think again, it depends on what you're selling, doesn't it? Because there are some things that you could just shove out on an ad with no other social proof and people will buy it straight off the bat. Whereas there's other things that people need to take a lot longer to consider, and they need to know who you are and trust you and find the money and go and ask their family if they can buy this thing. And there's a lot longer consideration period for some things. So therefore, they're probably going to need both organic and social over a long period of time before they become a customer.
Right. And don't be afraid to put dollars behind your social posts. And I think that's something that a lot of small business owners forget. You're not just spending money on the individual that's creating the content. You need to put marketing dollars into the ecosystem to be able to amplify your message. Because,
definitely,
right, the organic reach today isn't what it was 10 years ago. There are so many messages being presented to people as they scroll through whatever platform they like, that for your message to be seen requires a lot more effort, a lot more energy, and putting money behind it will help get your message to in front of the right people at the right time.
Yeah. And as long as kind of hitting the nail on the head, as long as you're putting money on it and you know what you're doing in terms of putting money on it. You know, the amount of times we'll see someone who's just chucked, you know, £100 or $100 at a post, and they've got no targeting. It's just gone. It's gone to everyone who lives in the UK, and that can have a detrimental effect because you're not targeting the right people. So as long as you understand what you're doing,
right? I love
and
the
as
people
long as
who
it's
say,
a good post in the first place.
I'm sorry, Laura, say that again. I stepped on you.
Sorry, I just said as long as it's a good post in the first place, there's no point spending money on a crappy post.
Right.
Because that's not going to help you at all.
I love when people get on Facebook groups and they go, but my audience is worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, not everybody wants to buy your crappy Alibaba, AliExpress product. Trust me, your audience isn't worldwide. It's a very well-defined audience. And when you find that sweet spot, that's when you start to amplify your message to that audience, because otherwise you're just throwing dollars out there and seeing nothing in return. And those are the people that are the hardest clients to deal with, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we get a lot of those, like as part of what we advise on their onboarding with a new client is getting really underneath that business and finding out who the audience is, more about the product, more about their business. But and when you ask that question, so who is your target audience? And they'll go, men or women aged 25 to 65 who are English speaking in the whole wide world. And it's like, and that's a good answer. Just about everyone.
See, and you really need to, as a business owner, this is so vital. And this is me having a heart-to-heart with business owners here. You need to not only know your target audience, but know how you serve them. If somebody asks me, what does Ad Zombies do? Who's the audience we serve? We help business owners in growth mode go farther, faster by writing words that sell anything. Like, I can recite that in my freaking sleep. Why? Because I know who my target audience is. Right? In my primary business, I know who my target audience is. And you know who that is. You speak directly to that audience at all times, not broad, to the individual. And so that's a really powerful thing for people to get, to understand. All right. So I'm going to put you both a little bit on the spot, and it's okay. It's okay if you don't have the answer for this, or if you don't, if the answer isn't what I think it might be. But if a small business owner wanted to find someone who's a really good social media manager, where is the best place for them to find them?
We do have the answer to that, actually.
Yes. I didn't know if I was setting you up for failure or success on this question.
Definitely got the answer to this. So we've actually got a directory that we set up because me and Laura, at some points last year, we were both at capacity, and we had leads coming into us that we couldn't take on these clients. So we needed somewhere to pass them on. So we set up a directory which is called Meet the Social Pro, and the website is meetthesocialpro.com. And all of our members are listed on the directory. So if anyone needs to find a really good freelance social media manager or ads manager as well, then they're listed on our directory. So it's literally just a one-stop shop, if you like. So that is where we send people.
That's fantastic. Now let's go to the other side. What if there is someone out there who says, I want to become a social media manager. I'm good at the visuals. I know how to do this already. I just want to dial this in and make this business thing really work. Where do they go?
So they can come and find us at the2lauras.com, and we can help them in two ways. So we've got the toolkit that we've already mentioned, which is the product they can kind of go and buy and implement. But if they want more ongoing support, they can join us in the Inner Hub, which is our freelance membership.
Fantastic. So go to the2lauras.com, and that's where they're going to figure out how to get the business side figured out for them.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, I am so grateful to both of you for joining me today on my birthday for this amazing sit down. Like, I'm really thankful that you were able to make the time. And I look forward to the day where we can have another coffee together in person.
I know. That
maybe something stronger next time to celebrate your birthday.
Yes, but maybe by 2022, when I'm double nickels, 55. So the two Lauras, thank you so much for joining me on the EntreGrow podcast. I so appreciate the two of you. And now, I just want to point out the signs behind you. So because I don't think anybody's really paying attention to this, but there is Laura 1. Okay. Just to be clear. And she is Laura 1. God, that is so damn confusing.
I'm definitely Laura 1.
It's me.
Thank you, Lauras. I appreciate you both.
Thank you so much.